Alrighty, it is Sunday the 21st. Local swell truckers, thanks for being here. The skies are cleared up. We're looking at these northwesterly winds increasing into storm surf all day Monday with the biggest waves we've seen yet this season, which is saying quite a bit. Potentially 35-foot Hawaiian scale tomorrow, maybe even 40 feet at Jaws. But storm surf. Okay, but let's go back as I get ahead of myself. This is last Thursday. We have a couple fetches off here by the Kurils and the Kamchatka here. So we had some wave, again, from these fetches you're seeing on the screen right there. And this is the storm here that's nearing us. This is Saturday, yesterday. And as it got closer, the winds intensified, the pressure dropped, and it's super close to the islands with some near hurricane force winds. It's sweeping off here. I'll show you the current models in a second, but that's the guy. And you can see the next one forming off the Kurils over here for the Thursday-Friday event. Okay, so here it is, Sunday the 21st. There's the storm. Well, our side of the 180 date line here, about 1,200 miles away. Starting in the animations, gets very close to the islands, and look at some. You see those blacks, man, those are a 45-foot season. Check this guy out. That is a captured fetch where the storm track, which is east-southeast, is in line with fetch. That's why they call it a following fetch. The fetch follows the track of the storm, and it allows the seas to really get a better grip and build to their full potential. Storm number one, and there's storm number two. I'm going to say that it looks very good for the Quicksilver Eddie Aikau, and we have some follow-up here, although these storms are not quite as big, but plenty big by most scales. But these two storms right here are probably going to do the trick to finish up our El Nino season. And when I say finish up, I mean with the extra giant category. These are very special here, especially due to their proximity and the fact that they all have incredibly high hurricane force wind pockets, which is 65 knots, and then get really close to the island. And that's second swell, this one. We should have trades on Thursday, and they may be a little brisk on Friday. But wow, I keep running these loops because I just can't believe what I'm looking at. All right, the jet stream. It has moved a little bit north over the course of the last 2 weeks, and so we were in a quiet period, relatively speaking, but take a look at that beauty here in about a week. So there's that dip right on top of us steering these large systems. The large upper air currents are about 30,000 feet up, called the jet stream. They help the development or the birth of low-pressure storms within them, the troughing areas, and then they steer the storms once they're formed. And certainly this guy's steering some whompers our way well into March. And I'll get to that in a second. But again, we have a 35-foot swell for Monday, another potentially 30 or maybe even 35-foot swell for Thursday, some 20-foot potential the 4th, the end of the month. Monday the 29th could be 20 feet, and we may see some near 20-footers, at least 18, the 4th, 5th, somewhere around there. And it's all thanks to this El Nino jet stream. Again, it has moved up just a hair. It was down about 20 north, but now it's moved up about 5 degrees north latitude. Still plenty of energy. Those pockets up to 200 knots. Let's go down under. February 17th, we see the start of this very deadly typhoon near Fiji, where 6 people have died. It's Winston, what that thing does here shortly. But down under, we had a couple little minor fetches popping up here and there, keeping us from going, as I say, mill pond flat. I'll start in the animations. Now watch the track of this typhoon here, right on top of the of Fiji. It has killed 6 people the last count. It goes down and then over and then back up. It is just an amazing storm. And we do have some fetches in the Tasman Sea. They're going to try to make their way up to us, but all this is hindcasting. Let me get to the current models. And this is a look at today's, the 21st. So there's the storm. The worst has passed for Fiji. It's going to be moving south and over towards Australia, but it will be fading out by then. We have some fetch down under. Now the southern shores, there's just background stuff, and there's some potential for long period small surf into March. I'll get to that. This color that you're seeing down here should boost us up about Monday the 29th. It's only going to be 12 to 14 seconds. I'll start in the animation. You can see it's very weak, no deep reds. But as time goes on, we get this guy coming in down here. Now, it's a zonal or west to east track. So when this happens, that fetch doesn't have enough time to develop those seas which are pointing at us. If this thing was going northeast with a meridional flow, then that fetch would last a lot longer and those winds would reach their maximum impact on the ocean surface. This guy right here should boost us up with some long periods around Thursday the 3rd or Friday the 4th. And we may see some 3-footers out of it. As we continue on, we go into a bit of a quiet period, and then we got this guy almost south of us, far under French Polynesia here. Incredible winds. This is a full winter caliber storm. It doesn't have the right track, and it does move out of our swell window. If we do get something from this one, it'll be more of a straight south swell and could come Monday the 7th of February. I will have these at surfnewsnetwork.com for all the dates. Taking a look at the jet stream down there, you see that slight tilt up. That was showing you that within that last soft storm. This is the reason. This is a nice example of what I was saying, how the jet helps support the formation of storms and their path once they form. This one's not going to, it's going to be very soft and short-lived, so no big swells. But we see a few pockets, the deeper colors showing the higher winds, or the deeper troughing. And every now and then we get something within that that's overall fairly zonal. And we want to see those point up our way. But, hey, it's still February. And the hand-drawn surface charts show that low pressure nearby to us bringing the giant surf for Monday. The front reaches Oahu tonight, Sunday night. That low pressure spinning counterclockwise and pulling up the air from the south. And that's why we're seeing those cone winds today really strong. And as this low passes us here on Sunday, we're going to see northwesterly winds. And here's a high pressure in between the next storm that'll bring us our giant waves next week. And thanks to that high pressure, we hopefully will see some trade winds and not a complete disruption, the wind pattern that we're typically used to. As far as the atmosphere, it's relatively stable, dry. You can see there by the brown regions. Intertropical convergent zone down here where the trades from the North Pack meet the trades from the South Pack. This does not reach us. You can see just out of view the storms, that low pressure here, and how it's spinning counterclockwise and pulling that air up. I'll show you that here in a second. And here's a better view of it. We have these prefrontal bands. You can see we get that popcorn look here to the clouds. That means that it's a strong storm down there at the surface. Lots of wind. There's that intertropical convergence zones with the higher clouds. And you can see how those clouds are getting pulled up. Drilling down a little bit further, you can see this morning was super cloudy, dark, but all in all, I'll tell you, Oahu has turned out to be much nicer than we thought. We do see some shower bands coming in from that westerly angle, as you can see the flow there. And we'll take one last look here at that storm that'll bring us our biggest waves of the year so far. There's the former typhoon moving to the west of Fiji. Here comes the next granddaddy, and this is going to be the one we hope finishes off with some bigger, cleaner, more manageable surf. And I guarantee everybody's getting psyched about that one. And that's the local swell tracker. Check you back next weekend. Aloha. Thanks for being here.